Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Question and Answer. I'm Kristen.
I'm Jessie, and we have two special people over here.
We do. Today we are joined by the owners of our agency, Emily and Scott Carlson, and they just returned from an Alaskan cruise. They were lucky enough to be hosted by Disney, their whole family, so them and their two kids, and they are here to talk to us about it today. We noticed when we were talking about this on social media, we got so many questions. I think people know that Alaskan cruises exist, but I don't think they really know like the nitty gritty of when you can go and what's included. I mean, I know I certainly didn't know any of it. So
neither did I.
Yeah.
No idea. I was like, what?
Yeah. And you see these like gorgeous pictures and you're like, wait, that exists in the world. So we decided to just bring the information right to you. So yeah. So just before we actually get into the questions, just give us like a little overview, guys, of like what you did, just like real, like what did it entail? Like
Real
where
and
did
raw.
you? Yeah.
Emily, you can go first. Go for it.
Look at that. I was like waiting to see.
Ladies
like
first.
Love that. What a gentleman.
Aw.
Well, I will say that first of all, when we talk about this experience, I don't even know, and Scott will be much better at this than I am, but I have yet to really find the words to explain what this was like, because this is one of those experiences where once you do it, you're like, okay, I understand what these people were talking about, because it was one of those things that was always on our bucket list that we wanted to do. And when it came to actually experiencing it ourselves, you see pictures, you see videos, but it's nothing compared to what it actually feels like and what you actually experience when you're there. It was such much more than like a bucket list trip. At this point, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness that we did that, because we're forever changed from this trip. Not to be like dramatic, like that is not a dramatic statement. I do feel like it changed something in me as a person. And I know that Scott feels similarly. And I know the kids that they can't get over this trip. Like they're asking us when's the next time that we can go. Aww. We're like, well, it's, we're from Massachusetts. It's not as easy to get there, but it made it more special, I think, too. So
cute.
When we're talking about this Alaskan trip today, like, please know we're not being over dramatic. Like, we just feel so passionate about like how it all went down and what happened there and what we did, what we experienced, and how we felt when we were on this adventure.
I love that. That's so fun. All right, Scott, what about you? How did you feel about it, just in general?
So for me, taking like a step back, I don't like change. So getting me to do new things is always difficult.
That's me.
Even I didn't come from a background of a family that cruised. Prior to my first cruise, I had never been on a cruise, and quite frankly, kind of went on my first actual cruise somewhat kicking and screaming. Had like a mild panic attack like the first 20 minutes I was on the ship.
I'm in the ocean.
Yeah, but like more just about like everybody was running around. It was chaos because it's just like boarding day.
That's a lot.
But once that finally settled down, found my groove, I fell in love with cruising. And for those that may not know, we live in New England. So like my goal whenever I'm going to vacation, I want to go where it is warmer than where I am presently at. So translating that to Alaska, that was something that I was always like, well, sounds good, but like, do I really want to go to a place where it's colder than potentially I would otherwise be during the summer in New England? So I was almost a little hesitant about going. I was worried about the time change with the kids. Like, how's that all going to work? I mean, they're seasoned travelers, but flying across the country and then going another hour back when we travel up to Alaska on the ship, like, are they going to be a mess? How are we going to manage everything? And like Emily said, I mean, like, life changing, I feel like is kind of a phrase that's just overused and bandied about a little too frequently. But the thing about Alaska for me is it is just unlike anywhere else I have ever been on planet Earth. The size and scope of Alaska is just completely humbling. It's a very centering experience to be up there and just be amongst these, especially in New England, like these mountains. We have some stuff, New Hampshire, Vermont, but like you look at one and then there's one right next to it that's bigger. And then there's an even bigger one. And then there's another one you can't see the top of because it's like there's through the cloud cover. It's impossible. It's a real kind of like centering and almost humbling experience to be in a place that like it kind of makes you realize that like travel to places that make your problems feel small. And I feel like that was kind of Alaska for us. It really just kind of brought like a focus and a centering back to all of the wonderful experiences we had up that go along with an Alaskan cruise. but it was honestly just like, it was like traveling to another planet. It was just
Yeah.
absolutely immense. It was amazing.
It looked like it. For me, like even when you sent us the videos of just you're on the boat and you see a mountain and there's ice in the water, and I'm just like, oh my God, it was just so pretty. Something so different. And I feel like when you go to just Alaska, I mean, I've never been. This is just out of photos and videos and books and movies. But like when you go there, it's like, okay, there's a lot of trees, but you don't realize like all the water and the ice and the mountains and everything that's just around you. It's so engulfing. It's so cool. It looked so neat.
And the wildlife too. Like
Yeah.
there's just so much wildlife that it just gave us a chance to kind of slow down and like appreciate the world that is around us, because we're always so busy and we're we drive places and we see beautiful things out the window, but we never really like stop and take it all in. And it was really nice to be able to like just take in that beauty that this world has.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like one of those things that makes Alaska different from like the typical Caribbean cruise that you go on, is that like in general, I feel like Caribbean cruises are a little bit more of like a festival or like, a party type atmosphere. Just that like, you're down there and you're on the ship and you're having a good time and you go into these ports and there's this wonderful Caribbean music playing and there are these vibrant colors. But other than the times that you're in port, and with the exception of maybe when you're going into and out of port, all of the topography is just ocean, which is completely beautiful and wonderful. But like when you're on an Alaskan cruise, you are like constantly surrounded more often than not with just these beautiful vistas, these landscapes. I mean, you look out your window, there's waterfalls, there's like baby sea lions and a mother sea otter, like just playing right outside your veranda. There's whales, there's orcas, like eagles. Like day number 1, you're like, oh my goodness, like that's an eagle flying through the sky. And then by day number 3, you're like, oh, bird. It's like everywhere. Nice. Completely remarkable.
Yes.
And
would you call them the pigeons?
Yeah, Alaskan
like
pigeons. Yeah, bald eagles are like Alaskan pigeons, it seems.
Great.
And just the atmosphere and the vibe is just like, it's kind of like a different frame of mind or focus that you have, or at least I felt like, compared to a Caribbean voyage that made it feel just, more calm, more like focused on like the people that you're with and the time that you're spending and just kind of taking it all in.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
That's so cool. I know.
Well, one of the questions that we got was when would be the best time to take an Alaskan cruise? And then right before we started filming, I was informed that you really don't get a choice. So explain away, guys.
So when's that?
So the Alaskan cruises their season runs from May to about September. And that's because that's during the summertime. So it's a little bit warmer. I mean, we had some layers are your friend when you go on an Alaskan cruise.
What does that mean in Alaska?
It was hard to really pack for it, because I kept looking at the different temperatures and the different ports we were going to, and it was going like up and down. So there was one day where we were, out on the deck and it was like 60 degrees. And then fast forward to the next day, we're in Ketchikan and it was like, high 70s. I think it was like 77 or something. And everyone's wearing short sleeves, shorts. It was like a different thing, but it does make it a little bit difficult to pack for because of that wide range and such different clothing. Layers are definitely your friend.
They sell clothes on the ship.
Packing for an Alaskan cruise.
The Amazon boxes didn't stop coming to the house in the lead up to the trip. I thought we were going to run out of room to keep everything. It was just crazy, but
that's great.
I think if you live in like the Pacific Northwest, you probably have a better idea of what that means. But like as New Englanders, I mean, we're used to very specific delineated seasons.
Yeah.
And, going into it, it was the kind of thing that we realized you kind of almost need to pack for 3 seasons. You need like winter, because if you're going to be days you're out on the deck or on a whale watch, you need to have like proper winter clothing to be able to stay warm. And then, you kind of need like spring, so you need like a shell layer for rain and something to maybe just like block the wind or just insulate you a little bit in the mornings. Then you kind of need like a summer layer too for like the afternoons when the fog and everything kind of burns off, the sun comes out and it can get into like the high 60s, low to mid 70s. We went right in the middle.
We were very lucky with our weather.
We were
very
lucky.
That we had like the best weather.
I love that.
And we were kind of told that like June, like middle of June, end of June is a really good time to visit. But I mean, you don't really have too much of a choice. I mean, it's pretty much June, July, August are the months that are available to you. And it definitely makes packing a bit of a chore.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And especially because it's not like you were just going you two, like you had your children and just packing for children in general is like a journey from the very beginning to the very end.
I
So,
know.
like,
And that's the thing too. Like, we've heard, I mean, Disney cruise, we're all very aware that it's for everybody, But with the Alaskan cruise, do you guys feel it was good for like a multi-generational trip? What about grandparents, kids, young kids? Do you have any preference on that? Is there any kind of input? Like, how's the kids clubs and that kind of thing?
Do you want me to go, Scott?
Yeah.
I'm trying to feel him out. Like,
I can go.
I could talk about this like forever. So,
Same.
I think that cruising in general, Alaska aside, is the perfect trip to do if you're going with people of all different ages. If you're doing like, you want to do a trip with like the grandparents, the cousins, whatever. It is the perfect trip to do that. We all love Disney theme parks and Universal theme parks, but those are really hard because there's a lot of walking that's involved. Heat can be involved. So I think doing cruising in general is really complimentary of touching upon the different things that maybe different ages might want out of a trip. If someone wants to be in the AC all day and they want to watch movies and they want to do specialty dining or learn something or go to some kind of session, whatever, like there is something for everyone on cruises in general. An Alaskan cruise differing from a Caribbean cruise is that I think that the port situations were a little different and the choices for different port adventures were very different. There were things that ranged from stuff like going on a whale watch, which everybody could really participate in, to doing like a family hike where like you may want to think about having grandma and grandpa do that. That may not be like the best choice to have them walking in the woods where it might be a little slippery or it might be a little just like lots of things to trip over.
Right,
so I think that Alaska gave a lot of different choices and options for all different ranges of abilities and tastes that people might want to do. What do you think about that, Scott?
So, I mean, I agree. And I think one thing that I would highlight is just kind of coming back to the whole theme of like how Alaska is different from necessarily like a Caribbean. I actually think that for a multi-generational trip, Alaska as like a bucket list trip to do that would be top of my list. And the reason for that is just because every spot that we went to in Alaska, it truly felt like this was a unique opportunity to do something like this for the first time. And maybe it's the kind of thing that, you might not be back again. So it was really great to have the opportunity to spend that with our family. And certainly if I was looking to really have like a multi-generational family trip that people are going to talk about for ages as like the family trip that we took, Alaska would be top of my list for that reason, just because there's so many unique and wonderful things you can do. When you go into ports in the Caribbean, different ports have different options, but it's all a little bit of the, different sides of the same coin. With Alaska, I mean, you have the opportunities to get in a seaplane and take a flight. You can go whale watching. You can go to a native village and learn about that. You can go on a nature walk. They had gondola rides to the top of the mountain where you can just get different photos. There's opportunities to have lots of different experiences all within your Alaska adventure, however you want to do it. I mean, you can go dog sledding. You can hike a glacier. Like you can go on a helicopter ride. Like you name it, you can do it. The only thing that I would say, and Emily kind of, touched upon it, is just that I personally would probably not want to do it with like very young children. I think you definitely want kids that are mobile and able to walk on their own and have, some stamina. I think managing like a nap, like if your child still needs like a midday nap, it would probably be a tougher one. Just number one. Challenge. The sun stays out till like 10 o'clock. And, number two, a lot of the port adventures, just because of where you're going and what you're doing, they're a little bit on the longer side. So, I think, if your kid still needs to nap or they're not really able to do like a full day because there's going to be so much you want to do, it might not be great. And then just on the flip side, for grandma, grandpa, I mean, Disney obviously makes great accommodations for people with mobility issues.
They do.
But if being able to get around is really a challenge, Alaska may not be the right one for them. Because again, like when you get off, it's not like everything's flat and paved like the Caribbean.
Right.
There's going to be some elevation changes. There's not like paved roads and flat walking surfaces everywhere, even in the ports themselves. So that might be my only word of caution. But I mean, otherwise, it would be top of my list if I wanted to have the multi-generational family trip.
That's so cool.
Well, the mom in me too was thinking when you were saying that, like strollers, like you're right, the topography and all of this, like, are you going to be there with your like double, the big stroller? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think cruise ships the strollers are a little dicey anyway sometimes, but
the towns itself are like, I'm just picturing like imagine if there was people with, well, I mean, we did see some people with like strollers, like trying to get around Ketchikan. Like it's just like this little, I don't know, like fishing village. It's not like updated in the way that we see different towns and cities, like where we're from. It's just a different way of life and a different, way that people are, I don't know, getting around and stuff. So
You got to
yeah, my kid was
understand that
wondering.
like people went to Alaska in like 1860 with like old school saws and like broken hammers and just kind of started cutting holes in mountains and cutting down trees. And like certainly the downtown areas are a little more like what you'd anticipate, but like these aren't giant cities. These aren't huge ports. I mean, in a lot of ways, Alaska hasn't changed a ton from the 1860s. So you definitely just got to kind of like, keep that in mind. And I mean, again, Disney's great about getting you where you need to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, you definitely want to be prepared for an adventure.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
crazy. Oh my God.
Well,
It sounds so
speaking of,
historical.
yeah. Well, kids are, in the Disney aspect, characters, all of that, they're looking for that extra, that Disney magic.
Kids.
So
I'm looking for that. What are you
and
talking about,
Jessie.
kids?
So what character meet and greets were on the ship? Like, were there any in any of the excursions that you got to hang out with? Like, what's that situation like?
I always tell people that when they're talking about Disney cruises and they're like, well, I'm not like a really big Disney person. And I'm like, these Disney cruises can be as much or as little Disney as you want.
Right.
And I love that about Disney cruise. Like they don't try to like shove the characters, and make you want to be with them or want to like appreciate them or whatever. It is as much or as little as Disney as you want. If you did not want it to feel like a Disney cruise, like you could make it so that you didn't feel that way. But I mean, if you are a Disney person, if you do like the characters, there's lots of opportunities to see the characters. And one of the best days, I think, that will just be forever one of my best memories is when Scott and I and some other people we were traveling with that we met on the cruise were like, okay, we're going to divide and conquer. We are going to work together to conquer these lines with these characters because on Glacier Day, that is like the most popular day to get your picture taken with the characters because it is the only day that they're outside on the deck and the backgrounds are just beautiful.
So pretty.
Just where else are you going to get a picture of Mickey Mouse with a glacier in the background? I mean, like it's never happening. And they do have the option to get pictures of the characters in their cute Alaska gear later on in the week, but there's just nothing compared to that background of just the beautiful scenery. So if you are a hardcore Disney person, this is just like taking it next level because just the opportunities that you get to meet these different characters and see them in their cute outfits in this beautiful world, just pretty amazing. But yeah, anything you want to add there, Scott?
I have a question. I know you guys saw Coda, and it looked like you saw Coda in the forest. So how did you meet him in the forest?
Jessie wants to
Just
go.
appeared suddenly.
I was like, there's Coda.
He
He's
just
in the
happened to
forest.
be on his own Alaskan adventure, and we just happened to bump into him.
One thing that Disney
Randomly.
is really, really good at is creating these magical moments. And what we did was a family scavenger hunt. And I thought that it was a really creative type of scavenger hunt because along the way, they're giving you tons of information about the land, about history. And then the kids are looking for these little cute animal stuffies along the way. So they're engaged. They're listening to the stories. The adults are getting what they need, which is the knowledge of like the area in which we are. And then at the end, they had like a surprise visitor. So
cute.
Disney's just so good like that. Just creating those magical moments for people.
It was
And
funny
we get to
because on
roast
social, everybody was like, this is a missed opportunity. They should have the Brother Bear characters out. Like, what, because we had posted like the other characters and people were like, they should have those Brother Bear characters. And then some of the footage you sent was of Coda. And I was like, well, that's going up. So,
And
make
he
all
was
the
walking
haters
around
be
to
quiet.
the
Like,
ship
he's
as
there.
well. He was walking around the ship too. So like some of our friends got pictures out on the deck with, the Brother Bear characters and it was cute.
That's
There's
cool.
just lots of opportunities for different things.
Is there any other unique characters to the Alaskan cruise besides Brother Bear? Like any different characters, any different princesses that you like don't typically see on another ship?
I'm trying to think, and I think that just really what stood out was the fact that they were in unique outfits,
Their outfits.
that
they
you
all
would never
have-
normally see. They did focus a lot on, because there's no pirate night, there was a big focus on Frozen.
questions
So it
about
was
that
cool
later
to
on.
see the characters in the show that were from Frozen, which was really neat. So that was a little bit different too, that you wouldn't normally like see a show with Anna and Elsa and Olaf just walking all around.
So since there's no pirate night, tell us a little bit about the Anna and Elsa show. What was that like?
So I think that if you're a person who does like the whole pirate night, pirate theme, it's basically that, but make it Frozen.
Okay.
But what I love
Scott
is
says
that
no.
No, you didn't.
No, I don't.
Scott said,
I found the Frozen Night to be a refreshing, different alternative to Pirate Night.
I think I would feel the same way.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. And I mean, this is very much I've been on too many cruises problem. Pirate Night is my least favorite night of any Disney cruise.
Mine too.
Yeah, I think we're just over it. We're over it.
I think it's been a thing that had its time and a place, but I think it's time to maybe rethink that every cruise has Pirate Night on every cruise.
Right.
I understand there's a lot of like IP and stuff that needs to go into making something different, but like it was very nice to have a show that was just not the standard pirate fare. And the other thing that was really nice was that they also have Snope. So they have Snope because for reasons I don't know, I think it has probably something to do with the sound or just, again, there's animals literally everywhere.
It must have to do with the sound because they weren't playing movies throughout the day. It was like the ship was like quiet out on the deck during the day. And it must have to do with like the wildlife and sound.
I'm sure.
Actually, I want to find that out because that's...
Yeah,
well, I think that goes to like the whole, it's a more calm, tranquil atmosphere, like the whole vibe thing that I was talking about. It's just like a much different one. But they have Snope at the end of it, which I thought was great. And, just the show itself, I actually thought was actually a little bit more like creative and had, kind of like more stuff that the crowd could kind of get into, I guess. And maybe be like the right way to describe it. It felt like a little bit more of a...
because the ship was so small, it was like more intimate. Like Anna was like in the crowd with all of us. Like we were like all a little community on this ship because it's a classic ship. So it's a lot smaller than the other ships and it was more intimate. But, she comes out in her part and she's just like walking with people and coming up to the stage. Like that would never happen ever on any of the other ships.
No.
So I thought it was great. I thought not having Pirate Night was great.
Yeah. I'm also over Pirate Night, but I mean, I've only been on a couple cruises, but still, it's like it's the same thing. So it's nice when there's a little bit different. And even if they were to bring that even to like the Wish or like it would just be nice if they could just differentiate just a little.
It would fit on the Wish really nice. It would be a really nice compliment to the Wish. It makes
sense to me with Pirate Night. I
with
was
the
like
frozen dining anyway.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Pirate Night's great, but once you've seen it twice, you're like, okay, I'm over it.
I get it.
Yeah, I think even the last cruise that Jessie and I were on, we like stayed for the first half and we're like, do you want to go to bed? Like we were just like, all right, like we got it. Like the fireworks
and on
ended.
the other ships too, they have 2 shows. So they usually have the show with the characters and then they have like the show with the rockin' pirates.
Right.
But for this, it was one show. It was right in between the 2 dinners. So everybody could come at the same show. Nice. And like I said, it's a smaller classic ship, so it was more intimate and it didn't feel as crazy. And it was just a more calm vibe the entire cruise.
That's awesome.
I have a question that's not on our list, but I was thinking of it because you were saying it was, you met people and it was like kind of a more intimate vibe. How long was this cruise? Because it wasn't like a quick weekend excursion. Like you were on that ship for, was it like 5-7 days? It was a while.
It was a while.
It was a 7-night cruise. And what made it a unique 7-night cruise from some of the ones we've done before is that your first day is a day at sea and your last day is a day at sea, which is an itinerary thing that I particularly enjoy.
Yes.
Because like your Sunday scaries of your last day on the ship that you got to spend a lot of time packing, especially when we may or may not have brought like 12 bags aboard. It was nice to have a day at sea to kind of conclude that because it wasn't like we were missing time in a port. Like I always hate when Castaway is the last day and then, overnight, you end up back in port because I feel like you got to you just have that in the back of your mind that like I got to pack and I got to do all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But 7 nights really felt like
merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
It also gives you the opportunity to make sure you get those last minute things you need because the stores are open all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, for us in particular, I mean, it's a 6-hour flight. It's not like the 2.5 hour flight that it takes to get down to Florida. So for the amount of commitment that it took, we were on the ship for 7 nights and then essentially had a day in Vancouver, which I could talk all about just how wonderful Vancouver was.
Yeah,
I would just go back to Vancouver, to be honest, as well. But it was 7 nights, which was really great, which I think, you'd know better than I, but that's the itinerary for all of the Disney Alaskan cruises going forward,
So,
with the exception of
going forward. So for next summer, there is, I believe, 1 5-night and then the rest are 7 nights. And honestly, 7 nights was perfect with the dedication and the packing that it takes. It's like, it's nice to be able to actually unpack your room and feel like you're settled and this is where you are for the week. So it was nice.
If you live in like Seattle or Portland, I could see like, maybe you do a 5-night, but certainly if you're from the East Coast or anywhere where it's a bit of a hike, I would definitely say 7 nights is the way to go. You need that time. You really need that time to soak it all in.
And because you're in Alaska, does it feel more like a river cruise? Is it like not as rocky or wavy?
Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Go ahead.
It's all personal preference. What feels rocky to me might not feel rocky to you.
That's the tough thing. And from Mike's, I've never been on a river cruise, but the worst time I've ever had at sea wasn't because of the waves, it was because of the wind.
Ooh, okay.
The wind was what was really pushing the ship and making things rattle and move around. And again, we had terrific weather, so I don't really feel like we, had too much. But again, you're 2 days at sea when you're coming and you're going. Those are the only 2 days that you are like most of the day you're out in the ocean and you're moving. And on those days, the boat had a little pitch, but nothing any worse or any dissimilar from what we've had in the Caribbean. Once you get to like your area in Alaska, though, it definitely felt like you're in more like established waterways where, certainly there weren't like, the waves or the white caps that you would typically see. A lot of the times, like I said, when you're underway, you'd see whales, you'd see other, sea lions swimming alongside, not necessarily alongside the boat, but
cool.
Yeah, like just out of your veranda.
Cruise too, like you really need to have a veranda room because
100%.
during the days that you're, you're leaving a port, you're going to another port, you're not in like open sea. Like it's not like there's nothing to look at. There's so much to look at. I was sitting on the veranda one day and I'm just sitting there and I'm like just watching all the greenery and I'm watching wildlife. I think I saw in the water there was like a seal or something. And it's just like you don't get that when you're on your Caribbean cruise because all you're seeing is just water, which is beautiful. But there was just so much more to it. So it was nice to kind of like take a minute and just sit outside in the veranda and just like look around.
You should have a veranda for an Alaskan cruise for Glacier Day alone, period.
Yeah.
Glacier Day was literally the most mind-blowing experience, I think, for me, at least as it relates to the cruise. So the actual color of the water, I cannot even begin to describe to you. It is like this teal green aquamarine that only gets more vibrant as you actually start to approach the glacier.
That sounds so pretty.
It's so pretty. And I didn't know this, but like essentially the way a glacier works is it's a big ice shelf that is stuck in between two mountains. I always thought of it like Titanic, like it's this big block of ice just like floating in the water.
Right.
It's actually like this big ice shelf that is like stuck in between two mountains that moves and shifts, and that's why pieces of it break off. And like the scenery coming up to that is amazing. And I don't know if this is true or not, and I'm told, but like wildlife thrives in and around these glaciers because the water is super oxygenated, which gives it that really remarkable, strange color that I guess you only get when you're near a glacier that is like seeping into the water. So to just be able to go out into my balcony and have those views as you approach are amazing. Like, especially if you're a person that doesn't want to be on the deck, you're a little more introverted. When you get to the glacier, they actually not continuously, but they rotate the ship around so that there is no bad viewing point. So if you were to just sit in your veranda room, you could get all of the same views of the glacier that people on the deck are getting without the hustle and bustle of being out there or like even needing to worry about checking a spot on the railing. So like your veranda is worth the price of admission just for Glacier Day. Just for Glacier Day alone.
Although
That's
I will
awesome.
say that, like, I felt like there were a lot of people that were out on the deck. And because it is a smaller ship, it felt like just this closeness of like, we're all experiencing this together. How beautiful is this? And everyone's volunteering, like, oh my gosh, can I take your picture? You'll take mine. You'll take mine. They had photographers out on the deck taking pictures too. So definitely get the photo package because those photos are going to be worth so much. I mean,
Yeah.
beautiful backgrounds. But it was a really amazing experience to have with this now community of people that you're getting to know over the course of the 7 nights.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, those are good
cool.
Christmas card pictures. So yeah, photo package for
sure.
sure. Your Christmas card is done after an Alaskan cruise. Another benefit. One of the last questions we got was whether or not you need a passport, because for some of the closed loop ones, a birth certificate will suffice. But I think this one's different.
So it's not the cruise necessarily that you need the passport from, but at present, well, and into the future, Disney only sails out of Vancouver. And as a U.S. resident, if you are going to enter Canada via air, which just about everybody is, I imagine,
Yeah.
you're going to need a passport in order to clear customs and immigration just to get into Canada. So although, traditionally cruises are closed loops, so you don't necessarily need a passport, practically, even if you didn't, you are going to need a passport to do a Disney cruise because they go out of Vancouver.
And
Got it.
I encourage people to look into getting passports anyways, because it's just a really good thing to have. You just never know where you're going to go, and you would hate to be held back because you don't have a passport. So passport.
She says to me, the
Well,
last
you're
one in
gonna-
this group, to
I'm
actually
like
get a
looking at Kristen
passport.
and get a passport.
It's
Well,
coming. It's coming.
What's going to happen is you're going to do Alaska. And then as someone who doesn't like change, it's going to open your mind to the idea of like European itineraries. And like, now I really want to go on a Mediterranean Disney cruise now that I've done an Alaskan one, and it's like, oh, maybe I'd fly to Sydney. And like, because I love the Wonder so much. The Wonder is now like one of my favorite ships. Like maybe I need to fly to Sydney, and I need to do the Wonder out of Sydney now too.
Yeah, that is a hot take. I don't think I've heard that one yet. The Wonder is one of your favorite ships?
Yeah, we didn't have high hopes going into it. I'm not going to lie. The Magic is probably my least favorite ship.
It is my least favorite ship.
The Wonder, it being its sister ship, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a week. But I will tell you that I think each Disney cruise ship has its own life and personality.
It does.
And the Wonder it just shone. It was just beautiful. It was amazing. The atmosphere, the vibe, the cast that was on it, everything came together. And I would say Wonder is probably one of my top 3 Disney cruise ships now.
What's each of your top ships?
I was going to say, now we have to ask what the top ships are.
Yeah, now I need to know.
You're going to make me choose between my children?
Yes, I am.
Everyone has a favorite kid.
Everyone has a favorite ship.
Everyone gets what they need. So I'll start. So my favorite ship is the Treasure.
Okay.
But after having been on the Wonder, the reason why the Treasure is going to get the nod is just because the Treasure is going to be a ship that I can visit and be on more frequently. It's more accessible to me.
Okay.
And again, I do really like being where it's warm. But the Wonder is definitely my number 2, and it's close. It's close. Like if I was able to sail on the Wonder more frequently, I think there's a real strong possibility that the Wonder would potentially be my number 1. But there's a very big place in my heart for the Wonder.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I feel the same way. And honestly, it's close for me. It's really close for me. And I feel like if the Treasure had beignets, then it would be a clear distinction. But man, the beignets that are on the Wonder, so good.
I love
that
it.
lounge on the Wonder is amazing. So wonderful. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I love it. So wait, Scott, what's your least favorite? Both of you, it's the Magic. Like that one is not.
Well, I mean, I can give you my 1 through 5 right now. It's really easy.
All right, let's do it real quick.
Go.
Okay, so number 1 is the Treasure. Number 2 is going to be the Wonder. Number 3 is the Fantasy. Number 4 is probably the Wish. And then number 5 is going to be the Dream. Number 6 is the Magic.
Wow.
Okay.
So Destiny.
The Dream is lower than I anticipated.
Destiny's going to end up taking the first spot. It's going to.
So the Dream and the Fantasy are sisters, but I don't love Fort Lauderdale as a port, and their itineraries tend to be shorter. So I am very much like 5 nights is really
fair, because it used to be here in Orlando. So that's not fair.
Well, I mean, listen, the rankings are subject to change as things adjust. I mean, I'm willing to reconsider.
Because
Yeah.
the Dream is
And then we
mine
have the
right now, but
Destiny
I've only
joining
been on
too in
Dream,
November, so.
Fantasy, and Wish. So
It's gonna be interesting to see where the Destiny lands. That's gonna be. It looks like they have a lot of really cool things coming on that ship.
yeah, I love the ships. They're so great. All right, guys, was there anything else that you can think of that was like Alaskan cruise must do? Any specific excursions? Any specific piano bars or any weird anything?
So one of the things I loved about the Wonder is it did seem, I mean, they have a lot of the traditional adult entertainment, but one of the things that was unique to the Wonder is they are doing dueling pianos, which is really great because it's like a throwback to Jelly Rolls at like Walt Disney World, and something that we've always really enjoyed. So they had, it felt like they had some different and unique adult programming for the Alaskan cruise that I and the people that we were with particularly enjoyed. The other thing is just that I would, certainly with the Caribbean cruises, the other thing I want to talk about is like, there are a lot of people that, and I get it, don't get off the boat in Nassau. I only get off the boat for like, very limited purposes if it's in Nassau. And obviously, Castaways, one of my favorite spots on planet Earth, and Lighthouse Point. But there are people that just like, if they don't like the beach, they like being on the ship, they like the amenities of the ship. Spend as much time off of the ship when you are in port as possible on an Alaskan cruise. We went to Icy Strait Point, we went to Juneau, and we went to Ketchikan.
Reindeer chili.
Yeah, there is so much to like soak in and do when you're in port. You got to spend as much time as possible because the ports are varied, they're unique, they're different. Like I said, there are these places that are like untouched. Ketchikan in particular feels like it's untouched in time, in large part from like the 1860s. You are going to want to spend as much time as you possibly can at the different ports of call that you go to, which makes it a little bit different than your standard Caribbean cruise. And ladies,
And see the lumberjack show.
Ladies, make sure you go to the lumberjack show.
It was a great time.
I love
There
that.
was one picture one of you took of this very attractive
Is it with the guy
lumberjack
with the
man.
chainsaw?
Yes.
Yeah, that was me. That was
Gonna
me.
edit that one, brighten her up,
job,
put her
Scott.
on social media.
I think that's going to go next to the genuine photo in our house.
For
Yes.
sure. It's
Yes.
definitely
For sure.
going up in our house somewhere.
For sure.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Yeah, that show looked really, really cute. I love the photos and the Goofy like dressed as a lumberjack. It was
awesome. I wish we could have videotaped it, but they didn't permit videotaping. But that excursion is unique to Disney. So no other cruise lines are able to do that lumberjack show. It is just strictly like unique to Disney. And I totally understand why. It was amazing. It was so engaging and so just fun and interesting to watch. Like these lumberjacks are really strong, and the kids are up and out of their seats. I found myself up out of my seat. Like it was just it was
I had very low expectations going into that because I'm like, lumberjack show, we're going to watch a dude like chop wood. No, Disney has other ideas, other plans. They turned it in a completely like interactive like game show between the United States and Canada. Goofy comes out to like start the proceedings. He calls all of the kids down and has them do like stretching and sit-ups and push-ups, and they're all like working out with Goofy to make sure everybody's ready to go. And then there's a whole little plot that develops of like, there's a guy who's trying to steal like these things that are called like cookies, which are like these things you like cut off the end of a log. It was so much fun.
That's the real terminology for it. We learned that as we were sitting at the airport and we were watching a lumberjack thing on TV and they were talking about cookies and we're like, oh, that was like a real thing.
That was an actual thing. Yeah, that's like an actual thing that happens, and it's like a competition. So like people are cheering for their lumberjacks and like booing the other lumberjacks. And it was just, I mean, it is time well spent. It's a perfect little family rest stop to bring everybody's spirits up and everything. It's one of those things that is decidedly Disney that only works as a Disney production. It's like one of those things that only Disney can do.
I love that so much. It sounds amazing. I'm sold. So I don't know if we want to take like an agency trip or like what the deal is, but like you've sold me. So I think that's like in order. But thank you guys so much for talking to us about this experience. Like I said, I am sold. I think I know Jessie pretty well. She's probably also sold. So
Goofy
if you
in a lumberjack outfit.
Definitely, if it's not on your bucket list, it should be. It is life-changing. It's amazing. Any of the pictures or videos that you see that We Do Travel's posting, like those are not edited. That is real. That is
and they don't do it justice. And they don't even begin to do it justice. You got to see it. It's a place
Can
you
you
got
do
to
that?
see, you got to
Definitely.
experience to believe it.
Yeah. So if you also now have major FOMO, you've been watching this at home, you know who to contact. We have the link right down there below in the description. Give it a click, find out more about a sailing to Alaska. Obviously, you will not regret it. I mean, the Carlsons are already planning their next Alaskan cruise. It sounds like their kids are ready to go. We're going to hop along with them in their suitcase. It's fine.
Yep.
They brought 12 bags last time. They won't notice us. So
It'll be fine.
definitely think about it. Get in touch with us. We would love to help you so much plan your Alaskan cruise. We have, obviously, we know because we've been there. So give us a little ring down below. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.